691, starter, we're ready.
John V versus John Caserta.
For Venom Voss, a 5:21 reaction time. So nice job there by John running the DSP BMW and street prepared B class for the pro summer purposes. So that's where the DSP runs. And then John Caserta running STR. We saw Tori Benya in that car just a few minutes ago do really well there in the ladies challenge, making it into the top 4 third time. In the bonus challenge, he had a 780 reaction time. And Venom Voss is back first by .240, so 0.2 advantage for John Venom Voss, about 2.5 tenths for the BMW as he moves over to the left side. Caserta is going to come up on the right now. Needs to make up about 2.5 tenths of a second. Reaction time for Caserta on the right side, and for Venom Voss 7:03. So John picks up 1/10.5 just on the better reaction times, but now he's on that slower right side course, but he's also going to try to make up another 10. Oh, +1 on the left side. We got a workers running, and we got a cone called on the left side. So now Caserta back alive again. Venom Voss had it on time, but the cone is going to take victory away and hand it to John Caserta as he'll move on to the next round to run against Dawn with the cone on Venom Voss class. Marshall Cone in the Mini Cooper. His dialing is a 34.217. He's lined up on the right. And from C Stock, David Pataki in his FRS 34.070. Starter, we're ready. Those drivers away, the dial-ins there very, very close. Just a 10.5 advantage for Marshall Cone there in the H-Stock Mini. But David Pataki getting an 8.30 reaction time. Marshall a 7.52. Marshall finishing 4th in the bump class today. About 1 second off the leader, only half a second out of 3rd for Marshall Cone, one of our DC region favorites here. And oh, and then Pataki gets a big spin, a little too hard maybe on the throttle, trying to hustle through to the finish. So Marshall Cone's going to have a 5.4 second advantage as he moves over to the left lane, and Pataki going to move over to the right lane now. He's going to have his work cut out for him with the spin right before the finish. Going to give Marshall Cone quite the advantage now as the drivers get reset and ready to go for their next runs. Marshall Cone now a 5.4 second advantage. Those cars away, an 8.53 for Marshall, a 7.06 for David. So David's, I'm sure he'd be happy to know that he got back a 10.5 with the better reaction time, but the other 5.2 seconds that he needs are going to be a little tougher, as he's going to need Marshall to make a mistake on the left side. That wouldn't seem likely. Not only is Marshall a consistent driver, but this is his home court here at FedEx Field. Marshall is back. David got back a 10th, but Marshall had more than enough to cover that. So Marshall.
All right, here's the bonus, guys. We got Marshall
coming up next.
We got Dawn.
Here we are. We got our two lined up, a 34.276 and a 34.217. So we're ready. Almost equal on the these two drivers. On the left, 8:14 on the right. So Marshall, almost a tenth better on reaction times, brings us back to dead even. Dawn had a tenth of advantage, but she was a tenth slower on her reaction time on the right side. And so it seems that we're back even again, and now Marshall has the advantage of being on this faster left side course. So we're going to see now if Dawn can continue to increase her speed in that Scion. She will need to break out again to get back first, and she does. In fact, Dawn takes the win by 0.3 of a second. So Dawn coming from behind to make up the difference there on that right side, overcoming the slower right side course for a 0.270 margin of victory there for Dawn Ammirata, upsetting the local DC region members there as Marshall Cohn seemed to have the advantage with the better